if my darn copy and paste works. Hold on one sec, please. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen of the press. Woohoo! Here we go. I think, Emma, I've got you on mute still. I don't know if you can hear me. And can you hear me okay? Okay, beautiful. Welcome. So good to see you.
And you?
Excellent. There we go. I'm just going to switch up my audio to my headphones. Microphone, and there we go. Headphones. Beautiful. How have you been keeping?
Yeah, really well, thank you.
Okay, awesome. And obviously, you're coming out to visit?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I leave on the 7th of October, so it's about 12 or 13 weeks away. Yeah.
Okay, fab. Can't wait to chat about that. That's going to be absolutely epic. All right, cool. So yeah, shall we jump straight back into it?
Yeah, yes, definitely.
All right, groovy. Give me one. I'm just going to adjust my headphone volume. So I've got to go through a little bit of a rigmarole. I don't understand why copy and paste to the iPhone is not working, but to the iPad is not a problem. So, all right, there we go. There's my output volume and going to my headphones and bringing the volume down there. All right, there we go. Can you hear me okay? All good?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, fantastic. Got you. All right, let's do it. Let's go live. And where did I put the live icon now? Unless we are live. Oh, we've been live for 4 minutes.
I
Wow.
think you did before.
Yeah, I think this is what happens when spending too much time in Cape Town. The brain's a bit broken. I just click go and we're live and we're up and running. So, all right, let's do it. We've got to do this one, Emma. Welcome. And absolutely, absolutely epic to have you on and have you back. And two quick questions. So firstly, Commonwealth, how did that go for you? Was that okay? Did you enjoy it? I mean, was it all right?
Yeah, it went quite well.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, not too bad. All right. Tell us about that. How was it for you? I mean, that was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I went out. I was nominated to come second, And I had some real goals in my head of what I wanted to do, and one of them was breaking the Commonwealth squat record, which I did. So I was
Yes.
pleased with that one.
Because always
And
squat's always the easiest one to break, right? It's
yeah, absolutely. It's my favorite lift. So
okay.
I was sort of like pretty confident that I would. I broke it on my second squat. Well, I actually broke
Sure.
it on my first squat,
Yeah.
and broke it again on my second squat. And then we saved my third spot. I didn't take it. I could have done, but the head coach was saying to me, "Oh, we might want to save a little bit of energy for deadlifts because I think there's going to be a battle."
Yes.
Um, quite unusual for me. Normally, deadlifts are not a lift that I do very well in. But on the day, I did my opener, which I knew what the weight was, and then they just picked the numbers
Right.
and ended up doing my third deadlift to win. And they ended up putting on 10 kilos more than what I'd ever touched. And I lifted it really easily. And I didn't know what I was lifting. They just told me to go out and work hard. It was a spicy number.
Gotta go. There we go. Oh, that is so good. I love that spicy number. Very cool. What was that like for you when you got it up and then you sort of realized, hey, we've done it?
Yeah. It was incredible. I came off and Sophia, who'd been handling me, arms wrapped around me, great big hug, and then we just had to wait to see if Kat could go and do the same. We were doing the same lift,
Yes.
same number was on the bar, and I got it up. She got red lighted. She did get it up, but she got it red lighted for hitching.
Right.
So yeah,
Sure. I mean, that was absolutely, absolutely incredible. What was it like being there with the team? I mean, the camaraderie, the passion, the connection with the team was absolutely was wonderful to see. It's always great hanging out with you guys as well. I mean, they're all powerlifters, all, but yeah, like I love you guys.
no, it was phenomenal actually. I really love coming away and competing with the team. Everyone's there to support everybody. It doesn't matter if you're like up against them. Like in Commonwealth, so I was up against Kat, who was also competing for England. We were
Yeah.
the first and second nominations, but there was just yeah, it was great. We were both supporting each other. She forgot her sweets, I gave her mine. All of those kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
things.
Standard powerlifting, right? Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Oh, absolutely awesome. So on that note, there's a lot of work, just a little detour. There's lot of work I've been doing on building information about Cape Town and the venue and what you guys can expect and what you can do. So there'll be a touristy component to it, you know, helicopter trips, Table Mountain, winelands. I know winelands for you is major. I found a place the night before last that is famous. It's called the Dog's Bollocks. They do a burger, but it's a burger stacked on top of a burger. And they also do these
Amazing.
monster pizzas. Absolutely fantastic. But there's a company as well that do deliveries to the venue. So like a normal, like a 60-minute delivery, it's called Checkers 6060. There's also Woolworths. We're going to do some features on that. So if you forget stuff or if you need stuff, you can have something delivered to the venue within 60 minutes. So like these are the little bits of information I think are going to make it fun. Plus, having chatted to Coach Craig and Sun City's great, right? But the challenge there is you're so far from the breakfast. And when you got a 6 a.m. weigh in for your athlete, as the coach, you're not getting a chance to eat. So with this venue at Fire and Ice, it's about a 14-second walk to the breakfast area. So at least the coaches, everyone will be able to eat. So that's going to be really, really good. So that we get.
Yeah, that was
Yeah. So what did, oh, by the way, the milkshakes at the hotel are completely off the hook. I mean,
I saw the video that you put up on Instagram where you
yeah,
were talking to the people that worked there and they were giving their favorite
they're
flavors.
flavor.
They
Yep.
sound
I mean, there's a piece of cake on a milkshake. I mean, it's just crazy. So yeah,
I've
but
got to have one of those
yeah,
definitely.
I'm a big Ferrero Rocher fan, and they do a great Ferrero Rocher milkshake. So also very, very good. So it's going to be, and just being able to stand there in the venue and see Table Mountain. I know when we shot, it was early because I wanted to be respectful of guests, but to see Table Mountain is going to be phenomenal. So when you lock out your winning deadlift, and then you know, look at Table Mountain and smile. So it's going to be very cool. Okay, so that's my excitement, but. What did you think of Sun City? How was the venue? How was that location? And what was the vibe like for you?
Oh, the venue was phenomenal. It was huge. That
Mm.
was the first thing that came into my head as I walked in. You know, when you walk in and you're just like in the back and kind of there's two competitions going on. It was huge anyway, wasn't it? The whole
Yes,
competition last year. But the
two.
venue
Yeah,
absolutely made it. Yeah. The warm up area, having enough room to warm up was yeah, that was really, really good.
very special.
But the actual venue itself was beautiful. And there was everything that you needed. I went out and did 3 safaris when I
Oh
was there.
wow.
So
Okay.
and I saw everything, all of the big five,
Oh wow.
which
Okay.
is
Brilliant.
yeah,
Very,
it
very
was really,
cool.
really good. I would recommend anyone to do it, definitely.
Awesome. Any favorite restaurant, food place there?
I quite like the Indian.
Mm.
That was quite nice. That was where I went after the day I competed. I had, just trying to think what I had. I think I had a springbok curry, springbok
Ooh.
tuna, which is
Okay.
yeah, it was yeah. I was determined to try and try as many different foods as I could when I was out there.
Yeah.
I quite like the ostrich, and I really like the springbok. That was really, really good.
Very, very good. It does put a bit of bounce in your step as well. So, now talking about on sort of the Sun City, any favorite thing that you did, the activities, the safari? Did you do the Valley of the Waves, the Temple of Courage?
I went to look at the Valley of the Waves. I
Okay.
didn't go and spend any time there. I walked through it, which was nice. I had intended to go, but I just ran out of time in the end
Yeah,
because I wanted to do safaris. The safaris for me were the big thing. That was always
absolutely.
what I wanted to do when I went out to South Africa. But having done one, it was just yeah, I
Becomes
just booked up
addictive.
straight.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully, I've been doing a couple of, that's the great thing about where we are in South Africa and in Johannesburg. There's one called Ritvlei, which is just on the way to Pretoria. It's a full game reserve. In city limits, it's the only one in the world next to Pretoria. You can go and see rhino and buffalo, and it's just the amazing thing to drive out on a Sunday morning and go spend some time in the bush. So we do
Yeah.
understand we're very spoiled. Cape Town as well. There's some great safaris very, very close, and the hotels can organize that. So it's going to be a blast. Talking about Cape Town, how's training been going? Any sort of expectations you can share? Anything, any smack talk?
Yeah, training's going well. So we just had British Championships at the
Yes.
end of June, so came straight out of that and started preparing for Worlds. Squats seem to be going really well, which is really nice because before British Championships they weren't going so well. But they seem to be going well, and deadlifts do as well, which is really exciting for me.
Oh,
I had at British Championships, I'd increased my bench quite a lot,
mm.
which is a big thing for me because bench has always been one of those ones that just doesn't move. And then I got injured a couple of times. Like the last few years, I've had a rotator cuff
Oh, flip.
tear in my pec. So it was nice to see that finally starting to
Mm,
come up.
mm.
So hopefully that will be there when they come out in October as well. But yeah, squats and deadlifts, those are the two that seem to be going really well, should I say? Yeah.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. Also, great thing about Cape Town, sea level, altitude is good, so you're not up at the higher levels. I know
Yeah.
Sun City was very, very dry. It was really a dry time, but Cape Town's going to be great. Chatting a little bit more on the fun part of Cape Town before we just go back to the comp. Any fun things that you wanting to do? We've spoken about safaris. Any fun activities? Are you going to be bringing? Are you going to be coming out with a little bit of extra time that you can
Yeah.
travel and tour?
I'm coming out for 10 days,
Okay.
so I'll be able to look around. I really want to see the penguins.
Okay, at Boulders, absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah. So very,
definitely.
very cool. Also I mean, that's relatively close enough that you could just actually take an Uber and go out, or the hotel can organize a tour. What's actually quite nice to do with that is maybe Cape Point and Boulders Beach and some of the other areas, Cork Bay, Olympia Cafe, fantastic food, great seafood. If you're a tuna fan, you could be eating tuna. They were swimming a few hours earlier. Absolutely
No.
fantastic. Harbor Cafe, great sushi. Um, the thing for me was I was so fortunate growing up in the Cape that I got to swim with the penguins before it became a nature reserve.
Wow.
And that was just the norm. You're walking around the beach and there's just penguins everywhere. You're not thinking of how special it is. But yeah, Cape Jackass penguins, they got such wonderful personalities. So that's going to be very, very cool. Um, Even just next to the hotel, you just go up to the top of Cliff Road, you can walk up Lion's Head, and that's a nature reserve as well. So there's some beautiful things that are absolutely right there. The amazing thing with Cape Town and the City Bowl, you're in the heart. You're in a nature reserve. The cableway up to top of Table Mountain, you can see some pretty amazing things up there as well. So very, very cool. Food is fantastic. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So with the comp coming out, sort of, we're looking at a little bit of domination. I get that sense, and rocking it.
Going to try.
Eh, have to put on the fireworks for that. So, oh, fantastic! How was the post Commonwealth? How was the feedback and sort of this from the family and friends and support back home? What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was really good. Everyone was so pleased that it went so well, and said that it looked absolutely phenomenal out there. The competition was long. That was the only thing that they said. It was a
Yeah,
very long competition. I think mine went on for
sure.
maybe 6 or 7, no, 8 hours, I think it was in the end.
Oh
So
wow, yeah.
it was a long time for them to be watching. But it, it was good. Yeah, I think everybody in my family and all my friends, they are very supportive of what I do.
Mm,
So when I got that first place, they were just, yeah, over the moon. It
oh,
was
awesome.
incredible.
How important is that to have family and friends watching and knowing that they are watching? What does that mean to you, and what do you think it means to the athletes?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been something that I really appreciate. Like, people don't always get the sport that you do,
Mm,
but for them to take that time to watch how you're doing, yeah, that's quite special, I think, especially when they can be long competitions and like they see you for 30 seconds and then you're off and then have to wait for all of the other ones to go.
and then a week
That can
later
be
you
quite
come back, yeah.
difficult. Like, quite difficult to explain. Like, so my mum and dad,
Yeah,
they kind of know how it works now, but I've had numerous competitions where they've watched, and my dad sort of said, "Well, I saw you, and then I see you. Where were you?" kind of thing. And I was like, "Oh, can I explain how the flights work?" And
yeah.
that, I'll come out 3 spots, and then it's a gap while I'm sort of warming up for my bench and somebody else is out competing. But yeah, for them to sit and watch it, it's nice to know that they're doing that. It's just gives you that support, people that want to see you doing well. So yeah.
I think that's such a great point that you make, and we did it a couple of years ago for one of the provincials or national champs, where we put with Coach Megan Layton. I'm sure you've seen Meg at the comps. Tiny red hair, running around like a maniac. Always, yeah. Okay, sorry, Meg. Um, we put a video together explaining how the competition works. I think we should actually do something like a 3 to 5 minute clip that we can play at the beginning of each competition, or maybe between the lifts, for each one what to look at, because I think it does help the family understand, and then they can stay engaged, follow the scoreboard, and then know when you're up next.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. That would definitely help people that don't really understand the sport or don't know it as closely as what we do. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you just forget, don't you? We do it all the time, so we know how it works. But
Yeah.
people that are in and out every time that you're doing a competition, they generally would forget, I would imagine.
No, absolutely, and I think it's such a good point. We live it as our lives. It's our norm, but for most people, that's not really the norm. So, by the way, what did you think of the announcing, the commentator of the comp? Was he all right?
I think he was okay. Yeah.
He was average. My God, I've never worked so hard in my life now.
Yeah, it must have been really difficult. You had the two platforms and the two competitions, so you were kind of like, yeah, I think you did
Yeah,
phenomenally, actually.
thank you. That's greatly appreciated. Thank you. It was. Thank goodness for Richard. So at least I could have a bathroom break, or for some of the other guys, and then some of the other announcers stepping in just for a quick break for a bite or something. But what I didn't realize when I agreed to it, because Harney's very charming, and he's like, "Oh, you can do it." I didn't click in my head, even having done this for all of these years, that two competitions are not going to be taking their breaks at exactly the same time. So while Masters is sort of on its 20 minutes, you still got Commonwealth, and then you're straight back in. So, but I think, in reality, as hard as I worked, didn't work nearly as hard as the coaches. And I think they really, some days we were finishing there at 2 in the morning, and I think the coaches were
Yeah.
absolutely doing an unbelievable, unbelievable job.
Yeah, I think they don't get the credit that they deserve. Actually, I think I don't
Yeah,
think people realize how long they spend each day, and like you said, with the food not being close by, that
yeah,
just becomes really difficult for them. So, I mean, I know I always ask them if they need anything when I've come in, even if I'm not competing on when I come and watch on the days that I'm not competing, because I know that they just don't get access to it.
yeah. But at least the food, the restaurant's right there, the food's right there, the coffee station, the milkshakes are right there. Gonna have to have a word with the hotel where we can get a protein milkshake. We can call
That's
it.
a really good shout
It's not about, maybe you just put the milkshake in a protein shaker, like that'll be a good idea. So I'm going to give them a call. So yeah, we're working on some fun stuff with that. There's one of the outdoor equipment places I'm busy chatting to, seeing if we can put like a special voucher code together so that you guys maybe don't have to bring out your safari gear. You can buy it here, and then, or that kind of fun stuff. So make that a little bit special. But who are you looking forward to seeing back at the comp?
Um, so there's so many people that I like connect with when I come out to internationals. Two of the people that I love seeing the most aren't actually going to be there. So
Oh.
Lane Norton and Ben Esgro are nearly always at the internationals, but they're not going to be there this year. So I'm really going to miss seeing them.
It's a very, very special thing, and I know we've chatted about it on our first podcast, but I'd like to go back into it a little bit. Like, what makes the powerlifting community so special?
I think it is that support and the camaraderie. It's everybody supports everybody, no matter who you're competing for,
Mm.
what you're doing, whether you're going to come first or whether you're predicted to come last, kind of thing. It's just I don't think there's another sport that's like it. Like you can go out on your actual competition day out onto the platform and do what you need to do. But when you come off, everybody's there trying to help you as well, sort of being really friendly. I've never known anyone not be friendly in a competition, which is lovely. You don't get that very often.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can I mean, I tend to just be very smiley in competitions. If I'm feeling nervous, you wouldn't know because I'm smiling. If I'm feeling hyped up, you wouldn't know because I'm just smiling.
You look like you were having a fabulous time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh, fantastic. Eh, For you, what is it that let me ask the other way. What has powerlifting given you in your life?
Um,
I mean, other than Commonwealth championships and stuff like that, and records and these things, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, it gives me something to strive for. I mean, I think I said last time when we spoke, I was never allowed to do sport as a
Yeah.
kid because I had knee issues when my knee would lock if it went down past right angles. So I had a hypermobile meniscus. When that got corrected, I got the go ahead to go and do some exercise to try and build the muscles up to stabilize the knee itself. And that's what led me into powerlifting. So for me, powerlifting is always going to be really special because that's the first sport that I was really able to do. I've done some running, but that was kind of like off the cards. Like after I'd had the operations, I was just told that's not going to be a good thing to do because it's always going to have an issue where the meniscus has been anchored, it can't move.
Okay.
So powerlifting, yeah, when I found that I could do that, and actually it's helping my knee as well because it's helping to build the
Mm-hmm.
muscles and stabilize everything. I think that's why it feels such a special sport to me. So yeah, that's why I really enjoy doing it. I think squats especially. I think that's probably why squats is my favorite
Mm,
because I had to do so much rehab
sure.
after the operations that my muscles around my knee have been built up quite well. So I think that's probably why it goes in my favour. And then I'm short as well, which is obviously always a good thing. I don't have to lift it very far.
You don't have to lift it that far off the ground.
That then becomes an issue with deadlifts, doesn't it? But yeah,
Yeah.
so I kind of
Listen, yeah, I'm relatively short, particularly in my family. So I mean, I think most people think that the deadlift bar at rest is close to my waist. So Except, yeah, no, I got short arms. It's not fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
you make such a valid point about squats, and I just wanted to touch on that. You know, when you are not able to do something, and I think for many of us, when we're younger, we feel bulletproof. We like that, you know, there's really a lot that we can do, and then we don't protect our ability to do stuff as we should when we get older, and we start to lose that. But when you have a situation where you can't, you're told, no, you can't do this, you should, you understand that it's almost like an age reversal thing, where you're now going to make sure that you can fight for it. How important is it for people to realize and accept the actual value that they have in being able to move freely?
Oh, hugely important. I think very often people think that they get to a certain age and they can't do things anymore, and they just stop doing the exercise or the sport that they've been enjoying for so many years. And I think that's the wrong way to think about things. Like,
Mm,
you keep moving, you keep yourself mobile, you keep yourself supple, you keep training. You know, you might find that weights slow down if you're into weight training kind of thing, that you don't progress as
mm,
quickly. But if you stop, I think you're going to do yourself a lot more harm. Actually, you can. I see it with people all the time when they have been very active and they just stop doing things. They age a lot faster,
yeah.
or they seem to age faster, and then they end up with issues, back issues, hip, knee, all of those kind of things. So movement is always going to be, in my mind anyway, the right way to go as you get older. Um, Hopefully everybody else will sort of start to think that way as well. But I think that's always going to be a challenge with
Mm.
everybody else.
I think it's, you know, I think movement is one of our greatest gifts, because we
Definitely.
can get up, we can do stuff, we can, you know, connect with people. I mean, with my late dad, with COVID being locked away for a year, he eventually said, you know, he was, forget about it. He's going out and visiting his friends and having his coffee and doing all of these wonderful things, and living life. And it's right, because you can't lock, for older people, you don't want to lock them away where, what is your last couple of years going to be inside looking at four walls? So the ability to move, to meet people and to connect, but it's not a guarantee and it's not forever. And it's something we really, really have to fight for. And strength is such a valuable and wonderful way to do that.
Definitely. Yeah. And if you can't do strength
Mm,
kind of work, find something that you can do,
yeah.
find something that you enjoy doing, and just keep doing it, keep moving.
That's it. There's a wonderful comedian, an American guy. I've forgotten his name for the moment, but he speaks. He's an older comedian. He's a gentleman, I think, in his 60s or 70s, and he says, you know, getting older, where you drop your mobile phone on the floor and you try to bend over, and it's like, he says, I'll just get another one. Yeah, that's the sort of thing, but that can be avoided by staying active, staying physical, and doing all of these things. And I think, you know, even looking back from when we last spoke, there's been so much chaos going on in the world and in specific regions as well, that I think the value of community is more important now than at any time. And just wanted to touch on that powerlifting community, whether it's people at competition supporting one another, the gym culture, the gym life. What's that been like for you and your experience of it through your career?
Yeah, I've always had a really positive perspective from that sort of sense. Going to the gym, I was a late goer to the gym because of my knee, so I never really went till I was in my early 30s. But yeah, and I wasn't strong at all. I was, in fact, I was overweight when I went.
Yeah.
But that's the point. When you're overweight, you go to the gym. You can help to change your body and change how everything's working. But everybody was so supportive. And so I've always been very fortunate with the gyms that I've trained at. I've always trained at coaching gyms. So
Mm,
it's not, I've not
okay.
really gone to a gym on my own. I've always had a coach, always I've been in a personal training gym or had a coach to help me through things, even before I was powerlifting. But the actual camaraderie that you get from the group of people that are there, they're all kind of like-minded people. They're there for the same reason. And that's kind of, it almost, that's kind of what got me into powerlifting. I think the gym that I trained at,
Mm,
everybody was so friendly. everyone was a lot stronger than me. It was a strongman gym, not a powerlifting gym. And I was really there for the rehab side. They were very, very good at rehabbing. And I just had my operations on my knees and I wanted to get moving again. And they did a modified strongman sort of session, which was predominantly filled with women, actually.
Okay.
And I love going to that. I couldn't do anything. I wasn't tall enough to reach things. I wasn't strong enough to but they adapted things for me.
Mm-mm.
And when I realized that, you know, people will go out their way to help you in those kind of situations, that's what kind of really got me into it. And from that I moved over to powerlifting, and it sort of went from there, really. But yeah.
You know, it's so many wonderful points that you've made. The one that's just stuck out for me first is, you know, talking about having a coach and not going to a commercial gym on your own. Nothing against commercial gyms, but I think, and we also alluded to that, you know, coaches don't really get recognized for the incredible work because they do it quietly behind the scenes because they want the athlete to have as much mental energy and not worry about them at all. But going to a gym and having a coach and having a trainer where you're paying for that, it's an extra amount of money, but you're insuring your house, you're insuring your vehicle, you're insuring your possessions, you're
Yeah.
paying for medical aid, or, you know, at least we are, all of these things that you're paying for the protection of other stuff, but a coach is there for your protection and your evolution. And I think it's something not enough people are actually doing at the moment. I'd love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, for me, the real benefit that I see in coaching is looking at technique. You know, if you can get your technique right, you are less likely to get injured, but also your weights will eventually go up. You'll be stronger for having good technique. And although it may seem that things go more slowly to start with, and that's kind of the experience that I've had,
Mm,
getting that technique right eventually kicks in so that you become stronger rather than hitting a plateau and getting injured and all of those kind of things. So a coach will always be important to me, whether you can afford to have one
mm,
that
mm.
is there all the time with you, or whether you use an online coach with regular check-ins. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But I think having one is the difference sometimes between doing okay and doing really well.
yeah. And being safe because, you know, the progression with a coach is usually a lot slower than you would want, but because you're building the foundation and you're putting that effort and energy into making sure the foundation is secure. As you can hear, I'm getting blocked up here. I'm just going to open a window to get a little bit of air through the studio. What I wanted to just also ask, and with your time on the platform at international competition, your experience at that level as well as in the gym, what would you like to say to coaches, or what should people be saying to their coaches in terms of just giving them a little bit of acknowledgement, because getting feedback from your athletes is also not an entirely bad thing.
Yeah, I think from a coach's perspective, it's probably quite frustrating sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
not getting recognition, but also, you know, the anxiety as you're training coming up to peak for a competition can be huge. And I know I can get quite anxious if things don't seem to be going
Mm,
right. Hopefully, if that ever happens to anybody else, their coach adapts things like mine does, to try and help, because the confidence side of things is always going to be an issue if you're not confident because something's not going as it should
sure.
do and
Yeah.
nothing's been. Those kind of things can really get into your head so that you don't then do well at the competition. But yeah, I think behind the scenes a lot of work goes in from their perspective, trying to understand the differences between different athletes and what they need and how they work as well. For me, there are certain things that I know that I respond really well to, and certain things that I would always want to see in my program. And
Mm, mm.
my coach that, and when they're not there, that's when my confidence starts to go a little bit. But I mean, he is quite good at showing me if I've had something in that's not sort of working on where I think it should be. He'll switch it just to show me,
Right.
and all of a sudden strength is there, and I'm like, okay, that settles me back down again, kind of thing. And I think sometimes that's something that is not done for people.
Mm, mm.
So then go into a competition where they don't actually feel the confidence. Like for me, I like to have a certain amount of time to prepare for a competition. If that's not there, then that's definitely going to affect my confidence in how well I can do in a competition. So the confidence side of things is huge, and I think if a coach can understand that and work with you
Mm-mm.
to ensure that everything that you need is there, that's when it's going to pay off really.
So true, and it really, it's about the not only the physical strength development but the mental strength development. And your coach is should be knowing what you think and feel before you thinking and feeling it, or if you're not
Yeah.
aware of what you're thinking and feeling. And that confidence is such an important thing, because if you do a weight and you're expecting it to perform in a certain way and it doesn't, that can really start to mess with your head and all of the other lifts that you're supposed to do. So you've got to be very careful.
Yeah, definitely.
I think anyone who's ever competed or been lifting for a while is going, yeah, yeah, exactly, 100%. I'd love to get your sort of, I mean, let's just say even advice or counsel on this, where there are younger people out there that may have something physical that says they cannot do a sport, cannot exercise, with your knee locking up with the depth, not being able to do these things. What did working through the limitation of the joint to get to where you are now teach you about yourself? And how hard should people be fighting in order not to stick with what they're being told, but also have the opportunity to push through, if that makes sense.
Having the right people around me was key after I'd had my knee operations.
Mm,
I still have all of them around me now, so I am very, very hot on making sure that I've got a good physio. My physio has been with me ever since I started powerlifting, making sure that if I've got anything that's starting to hurt, that I will talk about it very quickly, go and check out to see what's going on, because I know that I have issues, and if I get a niggle if I'm doing a
mm,
different kind
mm,
of exercise. For example, if I was doing plyometrics, that's when I would definitely get some issues with my knees. So knowing what can trigger and how to deal with it, and not being afraid to go and actually get the advice and get someone to have a look at things, to talk through what's going on and how to adapt things to mean that you can continue progressing. I mean, if I didn't have that, I probably would have stopped doing what I do.
right. Yeah.
Just because I would think, oh, I'm doing something that's going to damage me more, kind of thing. I've got a knee issue, I've had a knee issue, and it's not progressing as it should do. It's not now starting to get unstable, but
Mm, mm,
that's not the case. Have someone that knows how to check to see how everything's going, and they can give the confidence to you to keep going. I mean, for me, getting into powerlifting was huge. My mum, I remember giving her the live stream link for the first national competition I did, and she knew I was
oh,
powerlifting, but she didn't know what it was, and she was watching it, and she was like, I messaged her afterwards, and she was like, I knew you were powerlifting, but I didn't know that you were doing you want to be really, really careful with your knees. And I was like, I'm all good. Actually, my knees are really strong. And having gone through everything with her around, the guidance I've had, the
mm,
consultant physio that I've got, I have so many people monitor what I'm doing and how my knee is responding. There is nothing that she needs to worry about. And I'm the kind of person that if I get any pain in my knee at
mm.
all, I'll go and get it checked out straight away, just because I know I've had so many issues in the past.
I think that's two really amazing points there. Firstly, well, have a medical team that's supporting you, but also that understands that you're an athlete and that your needs are different to members of the public. I love my chiropractor, Dr. Simon Lawson, because he works with athletes. So he knows, don't do this for 6 weeks is probably not going to be in the athlete's best interest, where it's about, right, we know you're going to do this. Let's work around it. And really, I genuinely tell people I can move today the way that I can because of him, and getting everything in place 100%. And then also, I love what you said, like with your mum, watching you for the first time. It's like, be careful with your knees. It's if you were to speak to the mums out there, for an athlete that's, I'd say even at national level, competing at national level in the IPF, as an IPF athlete, you're going to be pretty okay, right? You're not going to get to be able to compete at that level with tweaks. It's not like, and with all due respect to my friends who are runners, and we love the long distance runners, but I know people that have run comrades with a torn meniscus because powerlifters aren't really going to do that. And what would you say to the mums out there about the safety and the benefit of the sport?
But I mean, the safety of the sport. If you look at a competition, all of the spotters and the loaders,
Yeah.
and they put so many things in place to make sure that you're protected. Obviously, things can happen, but the spotters are there to keep you safe, essentially. But yeah, when you're training for things, when you're focusing on strength work, as long as you are following the right
Hmm.
technique, really concentrating on what you're doing, and not doing silly things, generally people are fairly safe doing the sport.
Yeah.
I always find with every injury that I've had, it's not actually been powerlifting that's caused it. Like my pec tear
Mm.
wasn't powerlifting caused that at all. I was actually doing sit-ups, and that's another story. But
Yeah.
that every injury I've had has always come from doing something else, where I haven't had a crotch.
I
Yeah, their effect really does.
no, no, don't. I nearly had to pull out of nationals for the bench because I pulled my back out putting on a shirt.
9 times out of
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
injuries outside of the gym or doing something that is not powerlifting related. So that's what I would say to the mums: don't panic about
Don't
it.
panic. Yeah.
If they've got the right guidance, they're following the right technique, they're not
Mm.
doing silly things, they're progressing in a sort of linear way, everything's going to be okay.
Everything's going to be okay. I love that. And I think that if you competing and even strongman, powerlifting, any of the strength sports, when you want to take it seriously, you really start paying attention to your body and what your body's telling you. And I think you're far better in touch with your body than perhaps someone who's spending more time on the couch in front of the TV.
Yeah, absolutely. And nutrition's exactly
Mm.
the same. I mean,
Yeah.
nutrition's my area of expertise. So you can get injuries from not getting your nutrition right, from not having enough carbs and not having enough
Mm-mm.
protein, not taking in enough calories actually as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. When you start competing, people tend to pay more attention to all of that and their nutrition. So if you're competing and you're not paying attention to that, that would be my top tip for you. Make sure that you do. But yeah, I think yeah, when people compete, they start to pay more attention to what they need to do because they've got something that they're trying to work towards.
Mm. 100%. From your side with the nutrition, are there any fun stories that you can share with sort of the work that you've done with people where it sort of made a difference, whether it's profound or subtle, or even some advice you've given someone and they've come back to you and said, "Wow, you won't believe that. I didn't realize I needed water." Um,
Yes, I hear that all the time actually.
yeah,
And then carbs as well.
yeah,
That's always a big one. People tend to really, really prioritize the protein and go overboard with it. They're taking too much
yeah.
protein, which means that they don't have the calories left to be able to have the carbs that they need. And you normally find that if someone is sort of doing that, prioritizing protein and not really thinking about the carbs and fats, something's
Mm,
not quite clicking for them. So if you have your fats and they're too low,
yeah.
you're not going to produce enough testosterone, which is going to have an impact for girls. It's going to have an impact on their overall health because their hormone levels are going to go out slightly. That they can start having issues around their periods, for
Mm-hmm.
example, or those things, which will definitely have an impact on how you are able to compete and whether you are going to be able to do the lifts that you want to do. But the carb side of things, the timing of them having the carbs in to start with, that's the one that people are generally a little bit undernourished with.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to strength sports, they don't have the balance in their meals
And yeah.
correct.
And I think if the weight's not moving the way that you want it to, your training is uh, programmed the way it should be. You got to look at your food. Nutrition it's vital. I mean, it's our building blocks. And yeah, as you said, with the carbohydrates, we got to give our bodies the energy that it needs to do the repair work. Which is which is absolutely vital. I mean, probably the reason I did have a very large pizza on Monday night because I knew I would need the energy, and and hence you can hear my nose because my body loves gluten. I
There, there,
understood.
are- there,
Yep.
there are different situations where carbs become even more important.
Yeah.
So going back to Sun City, that was a high altitude
Mm,
area, and
mm.
your body uses carbs in a very different way when you're in a high altitude area when you're competing. So you'll burn through carbs at a quicker rate. At the same as you'll go through water at a
Mm.
much quicker rate, or your body will get dehydrated. So you need to make sure that you're putting the salts in to keep your water in. If you're trying to do a water cut in that situation,
Yes.
that's always going to
Yeah.
not going to go very well for you. It's going to be a disaster. But the carb side of things, if you are not aware that you are in a high altitude area, which I think happened to a few
Mm.
people when we were in Sun City,
Mm.
then you can't really plan how things are going to go for the competition. So, as an example, you're going to need to be sort of basing your diet around 70% carbs when you're in a high altitude area. And if you're not, when it comes to performing,
You know,
that's going to be
yeah.
amazing. And when you have to make weight for a weight
Mm.
class, that can become quite tricky as well, because if you're having to increase your carbs, but you're close to your weight or over your weight, how do you know, kind of thing. So there are lots of things that you need to think about in advance when you're competing abroad, definitely.
For sure. And I think people don't understand the intensity of the competition because, I mean, why do they save deadlifts for last? Can you imagine deadlift or squat, or yeah, squat, deadlift, bench? So much easier. You might might find a couple of guys dozing off on the bench in a carb coma. So yeah,
Must be bad.
yeah,
Just about recovery, isn't it? But yeah.
yeah. And I think that's, our bodies are smart. Like if we feel we're getting sick, you crave those comfort foods because your body's saying, give me the energy to fight this stuff, and don't deny it. So on that point, by the way, wow, I had a king clip at the Infinity restaurant, which is in Hotel Sky, which is one of the accommodation restaurants, 26th floor. Best king clip I ever had with a charcoal mayonnaise dressing on top of a pea risotto. Oh, really good carbs.
Good. Definitely sounds good.
Absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. That's just a little bit of advice, if we can. What should people be looking at eating and getting in before they come out to South Africa? Should they be upping that carb intake?
So Cape Town's not high altitude, which is really helpful for the
Yeah.
competition, definitely. But my key tip for people would be to start training the tummy. So you want to be training with everything that you're going to be eating during the
Mm,
competition
sure.
before you go out. It can take a good 12 weeks to train your tummy to be able to tolerate the amount of carbs that you'll need in a competition.
Mm,
So if you don't really think about that, that's always gonna be a downside for you in the competition. So when I talk about what your tummy can tolerate, it's around how quickly you're going to bloat.
mm,
For
mm.
example, you can, if you've trained your tummy, you can take in 120 grams of carbs an hour. But if you haven't trained your tummy, you're looking at more like 40 to 60 grams
Oh,
of carbs
wow.
an hour.
Okay.
That's a huge difference. And if you are on the lower side of that, that's going to have an impact on how you can perform. So yeah, if you can start to think about the carbs around your training, that's going to be really, really helpful for you when it comes to actual game day, definitely.
Don't.
And then the other side
Oh,
of things,
yeah.
the other side is once you've started to take carbs in during a competition, you need to keep taking
Yeah.
carbs in because your blood sugar levels will rise, and at the 2 hour point they'll start to fall again.
Mm,
So if
mm.
you've taken carbs before you start the competition but then don't have anything, you're going to get a drop off, and then when it comes to deadlifts, that's going to be an issue for
Yeah.
you. So yeah, make sure that once they start going in, they keep going in.
Don't be the person passing out on the platform due to low blood
Yeah,
sugar. That's
yeah.
for your own safety, 100%. With that, and also please don't try these cycling carbohydrate goos the day of the comp.
Yeah, definitely not. You,
Oh,
you don't want digestive issues.
no, yes, you want to be on the platform, not in the bathroom. The loo's right there, but still.
Yeah, the important thing about testing everything in training so you know how it's going to impact you.
Yeah.
So it's not just about bloating. Like you say, you might actually end up with a really upset tummy
Mm,
if you take something in that you've not tried before, and that's the last thing that you want in squats or deadlifts.
yeah. Absolutely. You don't want a super rich chocolate milkshake and some goo. Definitely not. Are you working with athletes? Can people get in touch just for advice leading up to the comp? So they can message
Yeah,
you directly on Instagram on your handle.
yeah, absolutely. I'm working with people all the time, getting them ready for competitions, helping them make weights, giving them a competition game day plan in terms of how to structure their nutrition, making sure that they've trained their tummy and that they're going to be able to take in the right amount of carbs for the actual competition that they're doing. So yeah, feel free to message me.
Awesome, brilliant. And I don't think people realize the effort, so the effect rather, that good nutrition pre-comp, months out, weeks out, and on the day the difference that it makes.
Yeah.
It can be actually profound, and you can shock yourself.
Yeah, so both for training and for
Mm,
competition, if you're not doing it while you're training, you're going to be potentially missing kilos in your training sessions, which is obviously going to have an impact on the actual day. So it can't just be for the couple of weeks before you compete. You
yep,
really need to be looking at a good 12-week block,
yep,
really. But
100%.
at a limit 8, definitely to
So,
make sure that everything's fine.
yep, and the timing's perfect. So there we go. Brilliant. So, I know that we had a wonderful powerlifter. Sadly, he passed away. A young man, Luke, and I'll never forget seeing him from high school. Pre-competition, he was eating McDonald's and having McDonald's milkshakes. I'm like, Luke, what are you doing? He's like, nope, this is what I do before training. So it's like, okay, I can't argue with that. That's what his body was used
The
to.
burger side was okay. Yeah, the burger was okay. The milkshake, a little bit dubious.
Very correct. But I think like when you're 15, 16, 17, you can handle this stuff.
Yeah.
As we get towards masters, not so much. Oh,
Yeah, it all depends on how you eat and what you eat in general
yep.
beforehand. But I made people laugh at Commonwealths because I took a Nando's burger in for post weigh-in, mainly because it was the easiest food and
Mm-mm.
not going to take up very much space in my tummy.
Yeah.
But I also took in a bacon sandwich and nuts and bananas and sweets and all sorts. And they were looking in my bag going, "What on earth are you eating?"
So,
And I was like, I know, I know exactly what I'm doing.
we need to get you one of those little catering little vans outside
Yeah.
the venue, and we can go out. Emma's pre-comp snacks, I think, will be absolutely brilliant.
My key piece of advice for a competition is take everything that you could possibly want.
Yes.
You're not going to eat all of it because at different parts of a competition, the chances are you're going to not want to eat
Mm,
something, but you're going to need to eat something.
yeah.
So if you're in that stage where you're too full or you have bloated or you just can't stomach it because of nerves, you need to have something alternative. So whether that's drinks,
Mm, mm,
sweets,
mm.
boring loaf, flapjacks, anything like that, just to keep the calories and the carbs and some fats going in. Fats are a little bit underrated when it comes to a competition.
Huge.
People think that you shouldn't have any
Mm,
fats at all, but you need it to keep yourself focused.
yeah.
Your blood sugar levels can go absolutely crazy otherwise.
Mm, mm, mm.
So there's a need to have a bag full of bits.
Bits. Yeah. So there are fantastic flapjacks, and if I remember, waffles at the venue hotel as well. So they got a they got like a bakery right there. So that's going to be quite good. But it's like don't neglect the fat, don't neglect the carbs, but also again don't eat half a tub of coconut oil the day of the
Yeah,
comp if
definitely.
you've never done that before.
Yeah, and you don't want to have too much fat. You
Mm.
just want to have enough to keep everything steady.
Yeah, I think maybe people can go, oh, I need a little bit more fat. Nick, come over here. Right, there's the fat. Listen, at Commonwealth, the only thing I could really eat there was sort of the pizza. So I was living on a lot of carbohydrates because I'm specific with the meat that I eat. So that was it took about 3 weeks for the body to recover from pizza every day. It was a lot of fun. Just as we start to wrap up, because Instagram only really gives us an hour, anything that you would like to mention, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, share a message with?
So obviously shout out to our head coach, Martin Bass. He is phenomenal. And I don't think he gets enough credit for everything that he
We'll
does. And
throw
I'm
up some
sure the whole
hearts for him. Here we go. There you go,
the
Martin.
whole of the GP support me in that. So yeah, a big shout out to him.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I think, would you like to nominate him to come on the podcast to have a chat with us ahead of the comp?
Yeah, definitely.
Love it. Done. Awesome. And we cannot wait to see you in Cape Town. We're going to be putting out a lot of content. 2 weeks' time, I think I'm going back down. Want to do a little bit of touring around Stellenbosch. And there's some great restaurants there, the wine farms and stuff. And then also off to Hermanus, because Hermanus is it's whale season. So I'm going to be chatting to Jo. She works for a company that do the whale watching. You go out on a boat and you basically right there by these incredible southern right whales and humpback whales, and that's really fun. That's about an hour and 40 minutes from Cape Town. So we'll be putting up a lot of content, but can't wait to see you guys. I am going to negotiate with Harney that I'm not doing all of the announcing as much as I love it, because it's also I want to go hang out in the back and have fun and chat to you guys and catch up. So, but it's going to be an absolute blast. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
And we know you're going to absolutely rock it. So, looking forward to that. We just want to say all the best with the training. Thank you for your time. And we're looking forward to seeing you in Cape Town, Emma.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. I'm going to end the live stream and then I'll just chat to you quickly off air. All right. And then, Martin, you've been nominated. So I will reach out. All right. Thank you guys for watching. And we will be back. Oh, there we go. Brilliant. Listen. Thank you, Emma. Oh, cool. That is, let me pop that up there. There we go. That's from Melanie. I'm not sure if that's 10I, 10, 11, 10 liter. All right. Cool. Thank you. That was too much fun. You see, look at this. All right, done. All right, chat to you in a minute.